I went to take my cycle out for a ride last week and discovered that my charging system was not charging. This is the first problem I've had with it in 2 years and 10,000 kilometers that I couldn't blame on user error. So it's kind of a landmark. It had to be either the stator or the regulator or something connecting the two. So I went ahead and I ordered both items. The regulator is both a full bridge rectifier and an electronic regulator combined. I can test the diodes in the rectifier. I'm not equipped to test the solid state regulator. This is a new one. It shows everything's peachy. This is the stator. Now, on an automotive alternator, the stator is inside the shell and the rotor spins in the middle, and it's an electromagnet with alternating poles, and as those poles pass the stator coils, it creates an alternating current, and then the diodes in the rectifier convert that to a direct current, and the regulator controls the strength of the magnetic field in the rotor and regulates the output that way. This is a different setup. The flywheel in the motorcycle, or the magneto really, is a cup that fits over these coils and has alternating pole permanent magnets that, as they pass these coils, generate an alternating current which comes up these two wires to the regulator. You can see the color coding here, pink and yellow. When it's running, this is putting out generally 13-14 volts AC. The rectifier turns that into DC, and then the internal voltage regulator finds a way to bleed off whatever power is not needed. There is a black ground here. I don't know how it goes about bleeding off the excess. I can think of at least 3 different ways to do it electronically, and it probably uses a 4th, so I'm not even going to venture a guess. This is my multimeter. Now you notice these wires clip into a plastic block that connects to the wiring harness. The reason they're shipped like this is because they have to pass through a hole in the cover that this little deal plugs up, and you can't do that with this in place. Now, besides the power coils, there is a separate coil that powers the electronic ignition. This generates roughly 50 volts AC, and then there is a pickup coil here that is triggered by a plate on the outside of the magneto, passing a little air gap there, telling the electronic ignition control unit when it should fire. If I set this to ohms, the yellow and pink, which is all of these coils here hooked up in a combination of series and parallel. The resistance is approximately 9/10 of an ohm. That is the same as the unit that's currently installed on the bike. The green with white and blue with white go through this coil and provide power. No. Yeah. Go through the pickup coil. Or the electronic ignition, and I'm getting 147.5 on all these Japanese motorcycles. It varies somewhere between like 130 and 250 for that. This happens to match what's on the bike already. And then this one here is the power coil for the electronic ignition, and we're getting about 330 ohms. And this is all the same as the bike itself. If this coil or this coil are bad, the bike won't run at all. And it was running. The only thing it was doing or not doing was not charging. So the pink and yellow are giving me the same resistance as the one on the bike. My guess is the one on the bike is in the same condition as this one here, which is new out of the box. So I bought at least one part that I'm probably not going to need, which is not a big deal, and certainly not the first time. By the way, this collection here is on most of the bikes I've owned, probably a $30 to $50 part, since I'm driving a Chinese knockoff. This stator was approximately $8. So spending that much to have it on the shelf is not going to upset me. It can sit there for years. If it works out that I don't have a use for it, I'm sure somebody else will. These bikes are common. So, time to pull the cover off the bike, shift it around where it's a little easier to get at, and see if I can get these parts swapped out before the sun goes down.